Welcome back to another episode of the I Am Tim Evans Show. I am your host, Tim Evans, and this is where motivation meets momentum, man. And it's been a little minute, you know, been a little minute since I came in and recorded a podcast episode, and yeah, man, just been busy, just busy with life, with business, um, trying to move forward in life, man. And I want to take a different approach when it comes to the podcast, especially when it comes to me just being on here by myself and not necessarily having guests on. And I watch a lot of podcasts, right? Which I think a lot of people do in this day and age. But what I've come to find is people who do solo podcasts, the way to keep them like interesting, right? So for me, it's I have a mindset of things that I want to talk about, or mindset going towards things. You know what I'm saying? That I want to talk about and trying to find the right approach and find out what sticks better for people. So just been trying different techniques, different methods to see what sticks and see what people like. And excuse me, I come across one where this guy was like, man, he goes through things throughout his week and then he writes it down and then he comes in and just talks about it. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that because I want it to be organic. I don't want it to seem too scripted. I don't want it to seem, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just really um I want it to be raw, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time polished. I like to have things that way. So this is the first time me doing it like this, and I think it's really gonna work. I think this is something that I'm gonna stick with. And really, it's just me talking to myself, right? That's how I kind of start a lot of my motivational things, whether it's things on Instagram, whether it's things on Facebook, social media, whether it's something that I'm talking to someone about. It's really whatever I'm going through or have been through, and I'm just like repeating it to myself time and time again. So, like I said, I'm big on manifestation. I'm big on the law of attraction, on speaking things into existence, the power of the mindset. So these are all things that I've been through, things that I've dealt with, things that I have come across and find, what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I just always share these with people. So I'm sure that there are a ton of other people out here that feel the same way. So I'm like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not just come on here and talk about what I'm going through, be a little bit more transparent. Not that I say that my life is perfect. I never say that, but it may come off as that because I don't talk about my pitfalls. I don't talk about the bad times and things like that. But actually, for me, because I've been on this self-help, motivational journey for a very long time, I find the positive in every situation. So even if it's a bad situation or something that seems negative or can be deemed as negative, I, for the most part, find something positive within it and I just highlight that. And I've been doing it for so long that it just comes second nature to me, which is what I want to teach people how to do. But in doing that, I think it comes off as, oh, you know, he never has any struggles or downfalls or pitfalls or never really goes through anything. And that's not necessarily the case, man. We all have things that we go through, things that we struggle with, things that we battle with, things that we try to figure out. And I often find that people think that they're the only ones that go through this. So in personal training, because I am a personal trainer and a gym owner, business owner, having conversations with people, man, day in, day out, you hear some interesting things. And what I find from this is that everybody has, for the most part, some of the same struggles. You know what I'm saying? But we always feel like it's only us going through it until you hear somebody else talk about it, say something about it, and then it makes us feel a little bit better because it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. And that's just what it is with life, man. You're not anything that you're trying to do, somebody else has already done. Anything that you're going through, somebody has already went through it. Now you may have to find a book, right? If they say if you want to hide something, put it in a book because people don't like to read. So if you want to find something, I mean, hide something, you put it in a book. If you want to find something, go find a book. You know what I mean? That's how I like to think about things. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at with all this. And like I said, this is the first time of me doing this, so I'm gonna stumble across a few words. I'm gonna stumble a couple times on some things, but y'all gonna get the gist of what I'm talking about. And hopefully you like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to go follow the podcast, follow the YouTube page. I'm putting a ton of fitness things on my page as well, so you can see me inside some of my training sessions. You can see me giving fitness tips, all this good stuff, man. So just make sure y'all follow me Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that. You know what I mean? But this week, well, I'm gonna say last week because I came across this last week, but it was so hard for me to really like get into a groove to get back in here and get back to recording stuff. Not that I didn't want to, but just finding time. You know what I'm saying? Being a new, I'm not gonna say a new entrepreneur, but a new full-time entrepreneur, it's a lot of things that you got to figure out. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out your scheduling. You got to figure out when you're gonna do things. You got to have like, think about this, right? You're a family man. You're married. You got kids. You got a business to run. Um, Not only do you have a business to run, but you have to work inside of your business as well. So not only do I, train clients, but we have to figure out how to scale the gym, right? We got to figure out how to make that grow and come up with different things. So being a visionary, so doing that, dealing with, you know, 30 plus people on your schedule, trying to figure out, what they got going on as far as their fitness goals. How can you help them with their goals? Like it's a lot of moving pieces. So then also trying to incorporate this into it too, because I feel like this is something that I've been called to do, just preaching the word of motivation, mindset, positivity, being a light, so doing that. Um, Outside of that, also being a youth league basketball coach, which is something that I thoroughly enjoy, you know what I mean? And I coach my son's team. And now, honestly, I don't do that just because it's him. I really do it because I enjoy it. And I feel like that's a form of giving back. But my life is just giving back. Everything that I do is me giving and pouring into others. So trying to find time to do all of that and time for myself. So some things get put on the back burner, but I just come to realize, man, that's just what it is. When I talk to other people and ask, like, how do you, how do I say, find the balance, the work-life balance? Everybody I've asked, every podcast I've seen, every entrepreneur I've heard from, hey man, there's no such thing as balance. You just got to prioritize. So that's something I've been working on, is actually prioritizing, time blocking, figuring out where I can put certain things that benefits me the most. But that's new because I'm so used to just working a 9 to 5. I'm so used to, going to work, clocking in, getting off, going to train, coming back home, spending time with the family, like that type of thing. So now it's like my schedule is open, but I have to dictate where things go. I have to dictate where the pieces go and things like that. So it's different, you know what I mean? So for any of my entrepreneurs out there that's going through that, I'm with you, man. I get it. If you are, an aspiring entrepreneur and you listening to this, hey, that's something that you may want to think about beforehand, because not people don't talk about that. We only talk about wanting to be our own boss, but not understanding that what comes with that, not understanding that in being your own boss, you have to, you're gonna have to put in those hours. You're gonna have to work, because if you don't work, then you don't make money. It's not just every 2 weeks you got a paycheck coming in. It's like, hey man, I got to keep this thing going. And like I said, within what we do, actually training people, but then also, how do I get more people in here? How do we scale the business? How do we take it to the next level? And that's really what's been on my mind, like just going next level in every aspect of life. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were just talking about people being drifters. We got to stop drifting. I got some notes here too, so I'm gonna look down every now and again, but we got to stop drifting. And drifting is like just floating, taking the day how it comes. You may realize that you may wake up in the morning and just kind of float throughout the day. You don't have any plans. You don't really move with any type of intention. You just wake up and you go on with the flow. But it's gonna come a time where you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, yo, I can't do this, right? Like, I'm not getting anything done. Where am I going with my life? What is it that I'm doing? What goals am I accomplishing? And you may feel bad about it, but you got to realize that you're drifting. And I got this word, drifting. Of course, it's a word, but I got it from, it was a book that I read a while ago, Outwitting the Devil. I think it was by Napoleon Hill. And it was a great book because it talked about, like, the book was like God and the devil, and talking to this person. And the what I really really enjoyed about it was I had the audio version, so that played a whole different part in me, like digesting the information, because it was a different voice when the devil was talking. And in this book, he was talking about how the devil loved drifters, people who are just moving with no plan, just day in, day out, just floating throughout the day, you know, and it's like those are the people that he can latch on to. Those are the people that he can, they don't have no plans for what they're doing. So they not aware of what's going on for the most part. So it's like we can't be drifters, man. We don't want to drift because we want to continuously grow. We want to continuously progress in life. And I say this all the time. I say this even when I'm talking to my clients. Like, we got to continuously progress, not just in the gym, but outside of the gym as well. Like with our lives, we want to continue to elevate. And that's not everybody, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I want to continuously elevate. So it's like, how do I do that? What do I do? What steps do I take? But again, it kind of makes it hard when you got a lot going on, you got a lot of moving pieces. You just feel like you all over the place, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's just a part of the journey. Feeling like you all over the place and then kind of bringing it together and then having that clarity and getting through it. But what I found that kind of helps me with that is meditation. Meditation and prayer. Anything that I pray for, I kind of get. If I'm asking for answers, I'm gonna get my answers. And I wholeheartedly believe that. You know what I'm saying? That's just where I'm at. That's where I'm at with my faith. But we gotta believe that. Whatever we ask, we shall receive. You know what I'm saying? That's in the Bible. I don't know the actual scripture, Bible verse for that. I think it's in Matthew, I think. You know what I mean? But asking ye shall receive. It's true. So let's not just ask for material things. Let's ask for wisdom. Let's ask for knowledge. Let's ask for help. Let's ask for more peace. These type of things. And you asking, you gonna get it. But within that same conversation with my friend, we talking about people having negative mindsets. And of course, I always talk about this and overcoming this and making sure that we don't have it, because energy flows where attention goes. You know what I'm saying? So whatever we most focused on, we're gonna see more of. So if you focusing on the negative, you're gonna see more negative. If you focus on the positive, you're gonna see more positive, And I experienced this myself, but we talked about how people have these negative mindsets and negative way of thinking where they think that they can't have consecutive good days. You know what I mean? Like, why do we have that mindset? Why do we think that way? Like, oh, things been going too good right now, so something bad gotta happen. Or, I'm having a conversation with someone and they like, yeah, I'm having a good day, but, something just not right. And it's like, well, why can't you just accept that? Why can't things be great? Why can't you have a great day? Why does something have to be wrong because you're having a good day? And I never understood why people have that mindset. And I think it's just a matter of programming, maybe something that we went through. And so this is a whole nother thing, but with the programming, we're all programmed in some type of way, right? Which means it's something that we've experienced, something we've heard, something we've been through that makes us feel and believe and think a certain way, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean? Being around our grandparents, being around our parents, being around cousins, certain things that we saw when we were kids that we don't even realize that now it kind of affects us in a certain way. And that programs you. So we got to deprogram ourselves to reprogram ourselves. But oftentimes we had these negative mindsets because of how we were raised or things that we've been through, and we kind of let it affect us. But I know I went through a bad spell, you know what I'm saying? This is a few years ago. I went through a rough little patch, and then I came out of that situation and I was feeling really, really good, really light. I felt like, man, hey, I feel great. You know what I'm saying? And then I thought about it. I was like, yo, the last few years has been kind of rough and bad, but I never saw it. Like, I never saw that I was going through the storm because I stayed so positive going through the storm. So I didn't even really realize it was a storm. But when I got to better, brighter days and I looked back, I was like, oh man, that was a storm. And I thought about it and I said, well, if I went through a storm for X amount of years, why can't I have these sunny days for X amount of years? Right? Again, while going through the dark days, I didn't realize they were dark days. You know what I'm saying? I thought that they were bright. But when I got to better, that's when I realized, like, oh, okay, things were kind of rough. But if they were rough then and it was for an extended period of time, in my opinion now, you know what I mean? Why can't I have these great days? But I guess that's just growth, right? You know what I mean? You don't really know what you've been through until you get through it, so to speak. Or you don't, yeah, damn, that was a bar. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know what you've been through until you get through it. But I guess that's common sense. But it's like, yeah, man, we can continuously have consecutively good days. We just have to shift our mindset to that and accept that and allow ourselves to. We got to give ourselves permission to have great days. Give ourselves permission to be great, to do great. So many times we hold ourselves back because of our minds, because we put limiting beliefs on ourselves, and then we can't, achieve the greatness that we desire and the greatness that we feel like we deserve. So we got to make sure that we you know, just allow ourselves to be great, allow ourselves to have greatness and be great. You know what I'm saying? And allow ourselves to think bigger, which goes to my next point, man. That's something that's been heavy on me lately. It's just, again, like I said, taking control of life, not drifting, having a positive mindset, and just thinking bigger. Again, asking ye shall receive. But sometimes I remember seeing a video with Steve Harvey, and he was like, "Your ask is too small." You know what I'm saying? And it's like we all hear this, right? Like when it comes to God and answering prayers or God telling us to do something, He not checking for our bank account. He checking for our faith. And it's like it came to me like, Tim, what you're doing, you're thinking too small. I'm questioning myself like, why am I in this certain situation, or why are things not as good as I want it to be? Again, that's kind of negative. Thinking about it, like you're saying that things aren't the way you want them to be, so they're not going to be the way you want them to be. But being real, I'm like, okay, I feel like I should be further along than I am. Why is that? Like everything is for a reason. Then it came to me like, well, you're not thinking bigger. Let's say we talk in business and you say, man, I want a 6-figure business, right? And then you working towards it, you accomplish that. But it's like, dang, why just 6 figures? You know what I'm saying? Why not $1 million business? Why not 7 figures? Why not 8 figures? Stop thinking small. We got to think bigger, because let's say you asking for, you want a 6-figure business. Maybe that work is going to come that you got to put in, but personally, you may only get 5 figures or something like that. So if you want 7 figures, you got to think 8 figures. Like you got to think bigger than what it is that you are actually trying to get to. Yeah, for sure. So you got to think big, man. Think big, and that's just been on me heavy here lately. Like, hey, I got to think bigger. You know what I'm saying? I want more out of life. I desire more. I feel like I deserve more. And this is not me saying I'm better than anybody or nothing like that, but we all got to think bigger. You know what I mean? I know you might have seen the meme or the little, I guess you could call it a meme, but it's like a little post that be like, think bigger. It'd be like, nah, comma, think bigger, and then hyphen God. And that's just where I'm at in life right now. It's like, hey man, you got to think bigger. I feel like that's a word that he's been putting on me, a phrase that he's been putting on me. Is like, Tim, you got to think bigger. You got to go bigger. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's like you set your sights on bigger, and then you got to do the work, right? So not focusing on the end result so much, but focus on the work. So I'm gonna come back around to that, but this is one thing that I do know, is that whenever we say that we want something, we will get, right? Asking ye shall receive. But I also know that when you ask for something, when you say you want something, your subconscious mind is going to give you the ideas and the actions that you need to take to get to that thing. So like I said, I'm just going to be transparent. I said, man, I need to think bigger, like business wise. I need to go bigger. Like we need to grow. We need, $1 million business. After I said that, I automatically started getting thoughts like, okay, do this, create this campaign. Okay, create this type of content. Like my mind just started flowing. I'm coming up with ideas left and right. I'm like, okay, I gotta write this down. And then I just felt like, yo, I gotta work, because I'm not a lazy person. I've never been a lazy person. I never strayed away or stayed away from hard work. Never. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm working around the clock now. Like just different ideas. Okay, let's put together this YouTube video. I'm going back through tons of content that we got, and I'm like, all right, let's put this with this. Like the creative juices are just flowing. And I had to stop and think about it. I'm like, where does this come from? Like, why am I so energized and eager and ready to work right now? And I thought about it, and I was like, yo, That's because I said I wanted to. Well, God told me I need to go bigger. I said, "Hey, let's make this happen." And then the idea started flowing. My subconscious mind just started coming up with different things, and now every day is something different. Let's do this. Let's do that. Now, of course, you got to prioritize because, again, it'll go back to, like I said, just things being all over the place or whatever. But that's just what it is, man. That's just a part of the game. You know what I mean? But think bigger, man. Think bigger. Set your sights on what it is that you want, and then do the work because the ideas are gonna come. That roadmap is gonna come. Whatever it is that you need to do is gonna come, and you just got to do the work. You just got to lock in and do the work, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's how you're gonna get successful. And another thing that came to me as well, like I'm so happy that all this is like really really flowing together. Like my thoughts throughout the week, because then it came to me like, yo, success is non-negotiable, right? Like we have to intentionally do things, and I say that time and time again. We got to intentionally do things, but success is non-negotiable. I am either it has to work or it has to work. You know what I mean? We're not accepting nothing less. We're not going to yeah, we're not accepting nothing less. Like it has to work or it has to work. Success is a non-negotiable. I'm not negotiating that. You know what I'm saying? I know what I want. I know that I can have it because God told me I can have it. The Bible told me I can have it. I'm going to set my sights on bigger and I'm going to do the work and I'm going to get it. And that's the mindset that we got to have going into life, going into anything that we're doing. I don't care what it is. And that's something I try to, put into my kids as well. Of course, they may not fully understand it now, but if I plant that seed now, they're going to get it when they get older. So success is a non-negotiable, man. That's something that I want y'all to just think about that. Like, and hold that with you. Success is a non-negotiable. Set your sights on bigger and do the work. You know what I'm saying? You can have any and everything you put your mind to. And that goes to another thing. It was like, you can have the power. You could have any and everything that you put your mind to, but we still had those moments where we kind of worry, right? We still had those moments where we kind of like question things a little bit. And it's like, if we know this, why do we worry? If we know this, why do we question it? Why do we question things like, is this gonna happen or can this happen? We know that anything is possible. We know that we can have anything that we put our minds to because we've seen it and done it time and time again. God has done it in our lives time and time again. But why do I still feel like, I don't know, like, is this gonna happen? Like, it's still that I believe, but I'm still like, I don't know, kind of. And that's a limiting belief, and I can acknowledge that. And I can say that I have that issue sometimes myself. But again, this morning I'm in prayer, I'm in meditation, and I'm like, if I got the power of Jesus and God within me, and my daily affirmations is that I'm a master manifester, why do you worry? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have the power of Jesus and God in you, and you're a master manifester, why do you worry? When you know that you can have any and everything that you put your mind to, when you know that you can make a way out of nothing and that God always provides, you know what I'm saying? When you know that he's the source and everything else is a resource, and you can have any and everything that you want, and you've seen it time and time again, what are we worrying for? But then that also goes back to, hey, we thinking too small. We got to think bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I know that these small things that I've asked for, I've always been able to get. You want your bills to be paid. You need, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. You need to get food on the table. You praying that something comes through. In the grand scheme of things, these things are small. Why are we afraid to ask bigger? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that we don't want to ask bigger? Like, we think that something is too big. God has shown you time and time again that he gonna show up, and you still asking small. Gotta think bigger, man. But also that goes into knowing what bigger is. And that's a problem sometimes, right? That's a problem sometimes. Sometimes we don't know what bigger is. We know that we want more, but we can't say what more is. And that's something I always have conversations with people about, and I always ask, what does that look like? If you were to do this, what does that look like? You say you want this, well, what does that look like? So I want you to ask yourself that. Whatever it is that you want to be a better father, you want to be a better husband, you want to be a better brother, sister, you want to be a better believer in God. What does that look like? You know what I mean? And really, that's the blueprint, realistically. Find something that you want. What does that look like? And then do those things. That's the blueprint right there. And it's crazy because we know that and then we still question. We know that and we still don't do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, what is the biggest version? Because like I said, God had been on me like, yo, Tim, think bigger, go bigger, do bigger. You know, you already know that I'm here for you. You already know that I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna forsake you. You already know that you can have any and everything that you want. Think bigger. And then I had to ask myself, like, so for a few days I'm hyped up. I'm like, okay, I'm going bigger. I'm getting the ideas of different things. You know what I'm saying? I know I want us to have, a 7-figure business. I'm talking to the guys. We like, hey, look, let's get it. Let's do it. We formulating ideas. But then I'm like, well, let's not just be bigger in that aspect, because there's life outside of business, right? What about that? Like, what is that? What does the biggest version of yourself look like? You know what I'm saying? In every aspect. What does the biggest version of being a husband look like? The biggest version of a friend look like? What does the biggest version of a father look like? Like, what does that look like to you? I had to question myself with these things. I had to figure that out. Like, yeah, you want to be you want to be the biggest, but what does that look like? You know? And then that's when I came across the thought of, for one, I'm gonna go back, right? Before I say I came across these thoughts. It is interesting to me, and I understand it, but it's so interesting to me still that I'll have these thoughts that just kind of flow to me. And I'm sure I'm not the only person. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'll go through my times of meditation, prayer, and I get these answers. I sit in silence. I get these answers. I get these questions that come up throughout the day. Um, and it's so interesting to me because then when I go back through it, I'm like, okay, I'm really getting these answers, right? Because right now I'm spitting this off. I got a list of things that I wanted to talk about, right? That I wrote down and I got it in front of me. And I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna talk about on the podcast today, because I said I wanted to go through this and see how this goes. And I feel like it's flowing very well. But now I'm like, these are the answers to the questions that I had. So I love how that happens. You know what I'm saying? Just to go and show you that God gonna give you the answers. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, what is the biggest version of myself, of you, outside of business or your job looks like? Being a bigger husband or wife, being a bigger father or mother, being a bigger friend, a bigger brother, being a bigger, motivator, associate, whatever. What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? And then, like I was saying, it came to me that growth has to be intentional. Like, we got to intentionally grow. We have to want to grow in order to grow. We have to want to be better in order to do better, in order to be better. Yes, you go through things and that helps you. These experiences help you, right? So like they say, you don't go through things, you grow through things. But again, that's a choice, because not everybody does that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go through things, you're going to experience things, but only you can determine how it's going to affect you. I'm going to say that again. You will go through things, you will experience things, but only you can determine how that will affect you, right? So growth has to be intentional. You have to make a decision to want to grow. You have to make a decision to want to be better and do better. You know what I'm saying? And then intentionally do these things, intentionally take from your experiences and conversations and surroundings and utilize that to push forward and be better, So yeah, man, I'm just, and for me, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I'm always wishing happiness, peace, love, prosperity on everybody. I just want to be a positive light out here. Do better, be a better motivator, be a better, outside of being a better father, husband, all these things, business person, and whatever. Being about my business, being about my father's business, meaning being about God's business and just, shedding light to the world. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to always motivate people, inspire people, lead by example, be that type of person. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's what I wanted to lock in with y'all today on. Just, going bigger. We got to think bigger, be bigger, do bigger. You know what I'm saying? In every aspect of life, not just in business. And that's what this whole thing is about. Thinking bigger. That's been the title for the week. Think bigger. And I love it. So I appreciate y'all tapping in, tuning in, man. You know, tell a friend to tell a friend. The I Am Tim Evans Show, where motivation meets momentum. And like I said, I got a lot of other things going on with this. I got guests that I have coming through. I got some lined up, so I'm super excited about it. And we're gonna continue to push through and drop these motivational words, man, and drop these videos. So until next time, man, stay blessed up, stay prayed up, and yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe. We out.